The Texas sun blazed over the quiet suburban neighborhood as Jack pulled into the driveway of his home. His uniform was crisp, his badge gleaming under the afternoon light. To anyone looking in from the outside, Jack Patterson was the embodiment of the American dream, a highly respected police officer, a devoted husband, and a father to a son who, in his mind, would carry on his legacy. Inside the house, the scent of freshly brewed coffee lingered in the air. Jack's wife, Laura, was in the kitchen, setting the table. She greeted him with a warm smile, but something was different today. There was tension in the air, an unspoken anxiety hanging over the household like an impending storm. "Tyler's upstairs," Laura said cautiously, stirring her coffee. Jack nodded, unbuttoning his uniform collar. "Good. I need to talk to him." But he had no idea what he was about to find. Tyler had always been different. Jack had sensed it for years, ever since his son was a little boy who preferred drawing over throwing a football, who found more joy in reading poetry than playing cops and robbers in the backyard. But Jack had convinced himself it was just a phase, something his son would grow out of. Until today. As Jack climbed the stairs, he heard the faint sound of music playing behind Tyler's door. Something about that moment, maybe the way the house felt eerily still, maybe the way Laura had looked at him with quiet apprehension, made him pause. Then, almost on instinct, he pushed the door open without knocking. Tyler sat at his desk, lost in thought, his fingers lightly tracing the edges of a folded piece of paper. But the moment he saw Jack standing there, his entire body stiffened. He shoved the letter under a book, his face flushing red. Jack frowned. What was that? Nothing. Tyler's voice was too quick, too defensive. Jack stepped forward. His gaze locked onto his son's. His instincts as both a father and a cop kicked in. Without another word, he reached down and snatched the paper from under the book, and then the world tilted. It was a letter. Not just any letter, a love letter. From a boy. Jack's hands clenched the paper so tightly it crumpled in his grip. His heart pounded in his ears as he read the words written in neat, nervous handwriting. "I wish I could hold your hand in the hallways, kiss you like the others do, but I know we have to be careful. Just know that I love you. Tyler." Jack's face twisted in disbelief. No, this couldn't be. What the hell is this? Jack's voice was dangerously low, the kind of tone that preceded an explosion. Tyler's breath hitched. He opened his mouth to speak, but no words came out. His chest tightened as if the walls of the room were closing in. Jack's fist slammed down on the desk, rattling everything on it. "Answer me." "Tyler." Tears burned at the edges of Tyler's eyes, but he refused to let them fall. "It's just a letter." "Dad? Just a letter?" Jack's face was flushed with anger, veins bulging at his temples. He held the paper up like it was something infected, something rotten. "Tell me this isn't what I think it is." Tyler swallowed hard. His entire life had been leading up to this moment, but now that it was here, it felt like he was standing on the edge of a cliff with nowhere to go but down. "I'm gay," he finally said, his voice barely above a whisper. The words hung in the air like a gunshot in an empty street. Jack took a step back as if Tyler had physically struck him. His nostrils flared, his jaw clenched so tightly it looked like it might snap. The silence was deafening. Then, like a dam breaking, the rage poured out. "No, no, you're not," Jack growled, shaking his head violently. "You're confused. This is just some stupid phase. You're not like that." Tyler had always imagined this moment, but he had never imagined it being this cruel. "It's not a phase, Dad," he said, his voice stronger this time. "It's who I am." Jack let out a bitter laugh, but there was no humor in it. "Like hell it is. You're my son. You are not gay." Tyler flinched. The words cut deep, deeper than he thought possible. But then came something worse. Jack's hand moved before his mind could stop it. A sharp crack filled the room as his palm struck Tyler's face. The impact sent the boy stumbling back, his hand flying to his cheek in shock. Jack had never hit his son before. Not once. The room was silent except for the sound of Tyler's shaky breaths. Laura appeared in the doorway, her face pale with horror. "Jack, what did you do?" Jack's chest heaved. His hands trembled as he realized what had just happened. But instead of apologizing, instead of acknowledging his mistake, he pointed a trembling finger at Tyler. "You will not live like this under my roof. Do you hear me?" His voice cracked, but the anger still burned hot. "I won't have it. I won't let you ruin your life." Tyler looked up at him, eyes filled with something Jack couldn't quite place. It wasn't fear, it was disappointment. And that hurt more than anything. That night, Tyler sat in his room, a bruise forming on his cheek, his mind racing. He wasn't safe here. He never had been. Then, the knock on the door. Laura stepped inside, her face streaked with tears. She sat beside him, her voice barely above a whisper. "Your father, he's arranging something for you. Some kind of therapy." Tyler's stomach dropped. He had heard of it before. Conversion therapy. "This isn't happening," he muttered. But it was. By morning, Jack had already made the arrangements. Tyler would be sent away, to be fixed, to be erased. And as they drove to the facility later that day, Tyler looked out the window, memorizing every detail of the outside world, because he had no idea when or if he would ever see it again. This is just the beginning of Tyler's story. What happens next will shock you. But stories like his are real. Too many people are forced to hide who they are, and too many are sent to places that try to change them. If this story hit you hard, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Drop a comment below. Have you ever had to hide who you are? Turn on notifications because part 2 is coming. And trust me, you don't want to miss it. The van smelled like gasoline and old sweat. Tyler sat in the back seat, wrists clenched together, his fingers digging into his palms so hard they left crescent-shaped marks. The leather seat was hot against his skin, but it wasn't the heat that made his body feel like it was burning. It was the realization that his life was no longer his own. Jack sat in the driver's seat, his knuckles white on the steering wheel, jaw locked in grim determination. The silence between them was suffocating. Tyler wanted to scream, to beg, to tell him this wasn't right, but he knew it was useless. Because in his father's eyes, he wasn't his son anymore. He was a mistake, a problem that needed to be fixed. And the place they were going? It was hell disguised as salvation. The van rumbled to a stop outside a large, windowless building in the middle of nowhere. The sign outside read New Horizons Behavioral Center. But Tyler had heard the whispers before. He knew what this place really was. His breath hitched as 2 men in white uniforms approached the car, their expressions cold, practiced, like they had done this 1,000 times before. Jack turned in his seat. His voice was flat, unyielding. "This is for your own good." Tyler felt something inside him snap. He wasn't a prisoner. He wasn't broken. He wasn't sick. But before he could protest, the men pulled the door open and dragged him out. "Dad, please." The door slammed in his face. The van roared to life. Jack didn't even look back. And just like that, Tyler was gone. They took his phone, his clothes, his name. From now on, he was just patient number 247. The walls were painted white, but the kind of white that made your skin crawl, sterile, lifeless, empty. The air smelled like disinfectant, like a hospital where no one ever got better. He wasn't allowed to talk to the other patients. They were all boys around his age, their eyes hollow, their shoulders hunched from years of being told they were wrong. The days blurred together. Morning therapy sessions where they were forced to listen to sermons about fixing the broken. Afternoons in dark rooms where they were made to watch videos of what happens to people like them. Nights where they locked the doors from the outside, trapping them inside like prisoners. It wasn't therapy. It was erasure. Tyler learned quickly. Survival here meant silence, but not everyone could take it. His roommate, a boy named Eli, had been there for 6 months. He was tired. One night, Eli whispered to Tyler, his voice barely audible over the sound of the wind outside. "They're never letting us leave. You know that, right?" Tyler didn't want to believe it. Didn't want to believe that his father had abandoned him to this place forever. But Eli knew better. The next morning, Eli was gone. His bed was stripped. His things disappeared. They told everyone he had moved on to a better place. Tyler didn't believe them. And that's when he knew, if he didn't get out, he would never leave. For weeks, Tyler watched. He studied the guards, how long they took to do their rounds, where they kept their keys. He noticed the flickering security camera in the hallway outside his room. The one that only worked half the time. He had one shot, and then, one night, a storm rolled in. The rain came down in thick sheets, wind howling through the cracks in the old building. And that was when Tyler saw his chance. At exactly 2:37 a.m., the power flickered. The storm had knocked out the security system, just like he had hoped. Heart pounding, Tyler slipped out of bed, his fingers trembling as he reached into the small hole he had carved into the mattress. Inside was the stolen key, swiped from an unsuspecting guard's belt 2 nights before. He took a deep breath. This was it. One step, then another. He moved like a ghost, his breath shallow, his pulse deafening. The hallway was dark, almost there. Then a shout. "Hey, stop right there!" Tyler's stomach dropped. They had seen him. Footsteps pounded behind him. He ran. Down the hallway, past the locked rooms, past the other boys who stared through the bars of their doors with wide, desperate eyes. He barreled through the emergency exit, the door screeching as it flew open. And then he was outside. The storm hit him like a wall, rain soaking his clothes in seconds, wind slamming into him as he sprinted into the night. But he didn't stop, because if they caught him, he knew he would never get another chance. The guards were fast. Tyler could hear them behind him, gaining. Lightning split the sky, illuminating the barbed wire fence at the edge of the facility grounds. It was high, too high, but he had no choice. His feet pounded against the wet grass. 10 feet, 5 feet. Then he jumped. His hands caught the metal, barbs digging into his skin as he hauled himself up. Pain, blood, fear. A hand grabbed his ankle. Tyler screamed, kicked, fought, and then he was over, falling, crashing to the ground on the other side. His vision spinning, his lungs gasping for air. The guards were still on the other side, shouting, but they couldn't follow. He was free, and then headlights. A car screeched to a stop on the road ahead. The door flew open, and Caleb, his best friend, the only person who had ever truly seen him, was there. "Get in," Caleb shouted. Tyler didn't think. He ran, dove into the car, and as the tires screeched against the pavement, as they sped away into the storm, Tyler finally allowed himself to breathe. He was out, he was alive, but he knew the real fight was just beginning. Tyler was safe, or at least, that's what he told himself. It had been 2 years since he escaped that place, 2 years since he had last seen his father. New York had given him a fresh start. He had built a life here, a real one. He had friends, a job, a tiny apartment that smelled like coffee and old books. And for the first time in his life, he was himself. But some ghosts don't stay buried. Tyler was standing in line at a coffee shop when his phone rang. He almost ignored it, an unknown number. Probably spam, but something in his gut told him to answer. And the moment he did, the world around him collapsed. "Tyler, it's your mother." Her voice was different, hollow, fractured. "It's your father. He's been shot." The words didn't make sense at first. "He's in the ICU. They don't know if he's going to make it." Tyler gripped the phone so tightly his knuckles turned white. "You need to come home." Home. A place that had never felt like home. Tyler sat on his bed that night, staring at his packed suitcase. He didn't have to go. Jack Patterson had thrown him away, dumped him in that hellhole, beat him down, tried to erase him. He didn't owe that man a damn thing. But then came the voice in his head. What if this is the last chance? What if he dies before you face him? Before you say everything you never got to say? And so, against every ounce of logic in his body, he booked a flight back to Texas. The air in Texas felt heavier. Or maybe that was just the weight of everything pressing down on him. Tyler's mother was waiting at the airport. She looked older, more tired. She hugged him without a word. And for the first time in years, he let her. The drive to the hospital was silent. And then, suddenly, there he was. Jack Patterson. The man who had once torn him apart now looked small, weak, mortal. Machines beeped around him. Tubes ran from his arms. His chest rose and fell. Slow, unsteady. Tyler felt nothing. No anger, no sadness, just emptiness. Then, Jack's eyelids fluttered open. His gaze locked onto Tyler. And for the first time in his life, the great, unshakable Jack Patterson looked afraid. Jack tried to speak, but his voice cracked. He was struggling. Tyler wanted to turn around, walk out the door, let the man rot in his regrets. But then Jack did something Tyler never expected. He reached out his hand, not in anger, not in control, but in defeat. "Tyler," Jack rasped, barely above a whisper. "I was wrong." Tyler froze. Jack sucked in a ragged breath. "I hurt you. I lost you. I was scared." He winced, pain flaring across his face. Tyler should have felt victorious. This was what he had wanted, right? To hear this man admit it? But all he felt was exhaustion.
He sat down slowly,
staring at the man who had once seemed indestructible. "You tried to break me." Tyler's voice was cold. "You threw me away." Jack's eyes shined with something Tyler had never seen before. "Regret." "I know." Silence stretched between them. Then Jack's fingers fumbled toward the bedside table. His hand shook as he reached for something. A letter, crumpled, worn, addressed to Tyler. Tyler hesitated before taking it. The paper felt heavy, too heavy, and then he opened it, and what was inside changed everything. Tyler's fingers trembled as he unfolded the crumpled paper. The hospital room was eerily silent, save for the rhythmic beep of the monitors keeping his father tethered to life. Jack lay motionless, his breath shallow, eyes fixed on his son. Tyler almost didn't want to read it, because if his father had written something before even knowing if he'd survive, it had to be something that would destroy everything. The ink was smudged in places, written in haste, or maybe in regret. And then he began to read. "Tyler, if you are reading this, I might not have the courage to say this out loud. Maybe I never will. I know what I did to you was unforgivable. I won't ask you to forgive me. But before you leave again, before you walk out of my life forever, I need you to know the truth. The truth I've never told anyone. You weren't supposed to be my only son." Tyler's grip on the paper tightened. His eyes darted to Jack, who lay there, barely breathing, staring at him as if waiting for the impact. But Tyler kept reading. 30 years ago, before I met your mother, I made a mistake I have spent my whole life trying to bury. I was young, stupid, in love with someone I wasn't supposed to be. Her name was Emily. She was the only woman I ever truly cared about. And she got pregnant. I panicked. I ran. I left her alone. Pregnant? Afraid. I thought I was escaping a life I wasn't ready for. But what I was really doing was destroying it. She had a son, Tyler, my first son. Your brother? And I never met him, because he died before I ever had the chance. The floor falls out beneath him. Tyler's breath hitched. A brother. He had a brother? A life, an entire existence that had been erased before it ever had the chance to be real. His hands were shaking now. He forced himself to keep reading. I got the letter years later. I had moved on, started my life, started a family. And then one day, I opened the mailbox and there it was, a letter from Emily, begging me to come see him. He was sick, dying. She told me he used to ask about me, asked why his father never came, why his father never loved him. And I did nothing. I didn't go. I let him die believing he wasn't worth saving. And I have lived every single day since trying to outrun that shame, trying to erase the part of me that was capable of doing something so cruel. That's why I tried to erase the part of you that I didn't understand, because I thought if I could fix you, if I could make you the son I needed you to be, then maybe, just maybe, I wouldn't have to face what I did to him. The weight of a life that never existed. Tyler felt like he couldn't breathe. His vision blurred, the words on the page bleeding together. No longer just ink but blood. His father had spent his whole life running from his sins. And Tyler? Tyler had been nothing more than a second chance. A chance for Jack to rewrite history. A chance to control what had once slipped through his fingers. But when Tyler didn't turn out the way Jack had planned, when he was different, when he wasn't something Jack could control, he had chosen to destroy him. 2. History had repeated itself. Only this time, Tyler had survived. He looked up, his eyes burning, his heart slamming against his ribs. Jack was staring at him, waiting, his breathing shallow. "I was wrong," Jack whispered. Barely audible. I was so wrong. Tyler's entire body ached with something he couldn't name. Pain, anger, grief for a brother he had never known. But most of all, he felt the weight of something he hadn't expected. Power. For the first time in his life, Jack Patterson wasn't the one holding the power. Tyler was. And he had a choice, to walk away or to stay. The hospital room felt suffocating. Tyler stood there, the letter still trembling in his hands. His heart pounded, not from anger, not from grief, but from the sheer weight of what he had just read. Jack Patterson, the man who had tried to break him, the man who had sent him away, had been running from himself his entire life. And now, lying in that hospital bed, fragile and broken, Jack wasn't the one in control anymore. Tyler was. He had a choice, to stay or to walk away, just like Jack had done to his first son. Jack's voice was barely a whisper. "I don't expect you to forgive me." Tyler swallowed the lump in his throat. He didn't even know if forgiveness was possible. But he did know one thing. He wasn't going to let his father's sins define him. Tyler sat down slowly, feeling Jack's eyes watching him. "I needed you to be proud of me." The words spilled out before he could stop them. "I spent my whole life trying to be good enough. But I was never the problem. Dad, you were." Jack's face twisted in pain. But not from his wounds, from the truth. Tyler exhaled sharply. "I don't forgive you. Not yet, maybe not ever. But I won't let your mistakes turn me into you." Jack's eyes glistened with something Tyler had never seen before. Regret, real, raw, unbearable regret. And that was enough. Not to fix everything, but to let Tyler walk away without carrying the weight of his father's failures. As Tyler stood to leave, Jack's voice stopped him. Jack coughed, weak and breathless. "I just need you to know I love you." "Son?" Tyler's chest tightened. For the first time in his life, those words felt real. He nodded, eyes stinging, and then he turned and walked out the door, not as a broken boy, but as a man finally free. 2 years had passed since Tyler walked out of that hospital room. 2 years since he had faced the man who had tried to erase him. And yet, as he stood outside his childhood home, gripping the steering wheel, he wasn't sure if he was ready to open that door again. Inside, his mother was waiting, and so was Jack. Not the same Jack Patterson who had sent him away. Not the same man who had raised his fist instead of his voice, but a man who had been forced to face the wreckage of his own making. A man who, for the first time in his life, had chosen to change. Tyler hadn't planned on coming back. But then the call came. Not from his mother. From Jack. His father's voice was quieter now. Slower. Missing the sharp edges it once had. "I don't deserve this. But I'd like to see you, if you'll let me." Tyler had almost hung up. Almost told him no. But then Jack had added something that stopped him cold. "Bring him with you." Him. Caleb. The person Jack had once refused to acknowledge as anything more than a mistake. And that's how Tyler found himself here, parked outside the home he once ran from, watching the warm glow of Christmas lights flicker through the windows. Waiting for the courage to step inside. The house smelled the same. Cinnamon and old wood. A scent buried so deep in Tyler's memory it nearly knocked the breath from his lungs. His mother greeted him first, arms tight around him. Her love had never been the problem. And then there was Jack. Older now, thinner, softer. His eyes flicked to Caleb, standing beside Tyler. And for a moment, silence filled the room. Then, Jack did something no one expected. He stepped forward and held out his hand. "Caleb, right?" His voice wavered. Uncertain, but honest. Caleb hesitated and then shook it. Tyler's breath caught in his throat. This wasn't a grand apology. It wasn't a perfect ending, but it was something. Dinner was awkward. Jack still struggled with certain words, certain ideas. He didn't fully understand everything, but he was trying. And for the first time, Tyler saw something he had never seen in his father before. Fear. Not fear of his son's identity, but fear of losing him again. So Jack listened, asked questions, even laughed at one of Caleb's jokes. And when the night was nearly over, he did something that shattered every expectation. He reached into his pocket, pulled out a small, wrapped box. "It's not much," Jack muttered, pushing it toward Tyler. Inside was an old key. Tyler frowned. "What's this?" Jack cleared his throat. "It's for the shed out back. I cleaned it out. Thought maybe you could turn it into something, an art studio or whatever the hell it is you do in New York." It was small, but to Tyler, it meant everything. As Tyler and Caleb got ready to leave, Jack hesitated. Then, in a voice barely above a whisper, he said it. "You always deserved to be loved. Tyler, I just didn't know how to do it right." Tyler turned back, heart hammering. Jack swallowed hard, his gaze uncertain. "I'm still learning." Tyler's lips parted. The words "I forgive you" weren't ready yet, but maybe, someday, they would be. For now, he nodded. "I know." And for the first time in his life, when Jack smiled at him, it wasn't forced. It was real. Jack didn't change overnight. People never do. But sometimes, they try. And sometimes, that's enough. What do you think? Can people truly change? Share and subscribe if you believe in second chances. Drop a comment. If this was your father, would you have walked away or given him another chance? Turn on notifications because real stories deserve to be heard.